Now, mind you, I'm not a mean person. I wasn't mean. I was just hella chill. Like, I was just, hey, because again, I don't care to do all that. So they were in my office for a while trying to get something out of me, but I proceeded to say nothing was wrong. So they say, okay, I'm here if you need me. I said, cool. 10 minutes later, I get a call from my manager saying, hey, this
had a lot of emotional needs that she was looking for me to meet those needs for her. So every time she would come into the workplace, she wanted to sit in my office. And she has her own office, but she wants to sit in my office and bring her laptop in my office and talk my ear off. So after a while, I called my boss. I told her I cannot work in these kind of circumstances. Like, I need to be able to focus on my work. I cannot focus on my work if she's in here. And then my boss is like, oh, well, she just really likes you. And that was my fault, because when I first encountered her, I was very, very nice to her, which, again, you shouldn't be nice. You should be kind. I was too nice to her. She got super comfortable with me. And as a result of that, she wanted to enmesh and latch onto me. So it's important. Oh, my God. Coworkers they're just draining. I mean, okay. What I want you guys to understand is this. Many people are not emotionally self-sufficient. They are looking to you to give them the energy that they need to continue on. So when you go into the workplace all funny and kind, and shout out to Nikia for that video, because what she put in that video is something that happens to a lot of people in the workplace, and it can cause things to escalate to possible employment termination. As somebody that works in HR, I have seen this time and time again. I will talk about this in the Masterclass. A lot of women, this goes back to patriarchy. A lot of women feel like they owe people niceties and comfort. Like, women feel like they naturally owe people niceties and comfort. That's why women are overly bubbly and overly performative when they're around people, because they want to make people feel comfortable. When you realize that you don't owe people that, you will start carrying yourself in a more standard, balanced, concrete way where people do not look to you for emotional reinforcement. Now, you know what? I'll tell you this, and I'll talk about this in the masterclass for Corporate Spartan. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I work in HR. A lot of these managers fire people because you're not giving them the emotional reinforcement that you came in with originally. The worship that you gave them when you originally came in, you stopped, and they don't like that. And as a result, now they want to get you fired. So I always tell women, your warmth, your joy, I don't think you understand that, especially as a woman. Because women and men, they go through the same thing in the workplace, but not all the time. And we'll discuss that in the class. The patriarchy looks to women for warmth. That's why a man can go into the gas station with a straight face and nobody cares. But if a woman goes in with a straight face, like, smile, babe, smile. Why you look so mad? Put a smile on your face. People are always looking for reinforcement from women. Always. And when you understand that, you're going to gatekeep that, and you're not going to give it away, even in the workplace. So I always tell women, when you're overly bubbly and nice and smiley and funny and complimentary, people are looking to you for reinforcement. They're siphoning you. They're harvesting that energy. You don't even realize it until you stop doing it. And then when you stop doing it, it's a problem. Like, it's a problem that is now escalating to HR because you're no longer smiling at them anymore, and you're no longer overly bubbly. That's why I tell women, stop performing. I know the patriarchy wants you to perform. Stop performing. Learn how to be standard. You see what she said? Oh, well, I just came in all chill. If she came in chill like that from the beginning and she got hired based on that character, she wouldn't have to overdo it. Right? Like, not overdo it, but she wouldn't have to worry about now being penalized for not being as warm as she was before. And based on what she's saying, if you watch the whole video, She gave complaints about certain things that she didn't like, and they ignored it. Because when you're overly bubbly and you're super, super nice and you're super, super interested in people's affairs in the workplace, they don't take you seriously. People take serious people with serious personalities and concrete personalities that are just kind of gray, like gray rock vibes. People tend to take them a little bit more seriously, because when you're very nice and complimentary and open and friendly in the work environment, they see you as like the lapdog. That's when your concerns, they don't care. You know what I mean? So you see how she's neutral, how she said, oh, I was just chill. If she got hired based on that personality, work would be a breeze, because nobody's going to expect more of you. That's why for me, I gatekeep my niceties. I gatekeep my friendliness. I gatekeep my warmth, because I don't want you to keep looking to me for that every time you come around me in the work setting. And guess what? Sometimes people just have a bad day. Sometimes people just have a bad week. But when you come in overly complimentary, they're going to constantly expect that from you, because people are narcissists and people are creatures of habit. A lot of people in workplaces are there to siphon your energy. Now, I'm about to say something to you. There's nothing wrong if you're a kind person. There's nothing wrong if you are nice. There's nothing wrong if you are bubbly. Shout out to the creator that uploaded that video, Nakia London. Here's the thing. Some people, like you guys, may be like self-sufficient, right? Like you like yourself naturally. You don't need anybody to reinforce anything. You know, you don't really need anyone to validate you or to, stroke your ego. The problem is when you go into the workplace, there are a lot of people in these places, you guys, who are not happy at home. Okay? So they come to work and they are looking to colleagues and leisure people to give them that validation and attention that they are not getting. So this goes right back to when I talk about nice versus kind. I am an advocate for people to not be nice. And the reason why I'm an advocate for people to not be nice is because when you are nice, you're going to have to keep it up. If you go into an interview or you start at a workplace and you're overly bubbly, you're overly complimentary, you're overly smiley, you're overly talkative, you're overly interested in people's lives, you're overly social, you're going to have to keep that up. So when you come into work and you're just normal, like what Nakia was saying, just vibing out, chill, that is going to create a problem. Why? Because most people are narcissists. They are going through the world looking for you to validate them. They're looking for you to fuel them. They're looking at you to spiritually energize them. That's why I tell you guys, I'm not telling you to change yourself and don't be nice, but you have to gatekeep that. Like my niceness, it's not for everyone. Your niceness, it's not for everyone. Because there are some people that are looking for your reinforcement as their fuel. They are looking to siphon you. They are looking to harvest off of the energy that you are providing. Listen, I don't have the time to be anybody's emotional reinforcement bunny. I can't. I don't have the time. Like, that is too much work to go into the workplace and you have to be the life of the party. Like, these people are such narcissists. They are coming to work and they're looking to you to reinforce their loneliness problems. They're looking at you to reinforce their insecurity. They're looking at you to reinforce the fact that they don't like themselves. Ma'am, I don't have time for this. I just want to get my check and get the hell out of this building. It's claustrophobic in here. Like, I just can't do it. And that is part of workplace politics. I'll talk about this in the masterclass on Sunday. Hope to see you guys there. The way that you go into these interviews, I always tell people the version of yourself that you introduce in the interview and they hire you off of that personality that you present, if you don't uphold that throughout your duration of working there, you're gonna get fired. That's why I always tell women, I understand some women are naturally that way, but I always tell women, stop with the overly nice stuff. Stop it. Like, stop with the overly nice. Don't do that, because it's going to work against you. Don't go into the workplace picking up on all the extra work, all the extra slack. Every time somebody is going out of town, you're always the one to cover for them, because as people, we are creatures of habit. So if you're teaching the people around you that you're always there to pick up shifts for people that are sick or out of town, the one time that you say, no, I can't pick up the shift, guess what? They're not going to say, oh, okay. They're going to say why, even though they shouldn't say why. But they're going to say why because you have trained them that you're always going to be their support system. You have trained them that you are the floaty of the workplace that keeps everybody afloat. You are training these people with your character, with your action, with your responses. You are training people based on how you carry yourself. Subconsciously, you are training these people. So as somebody who works in HR, I always tell you guys, do not show up and present yourself in a way that you cannot continue to be all the time. Because the minute you pull back, the narcissists in there are going to get annoyed that you're not giving them that reinforcement. And what's going to happen is they're going to start sabotaging you so you can get fired. Now, I had a situation like this with a boss that I had. So my boss at the time, she was working in another state. But the HR manager at my office, which I don't report to, but she was there, she is a narcissistic, sociopathic woman, okay? She is a woman that needs a lot of emotional attention, emotional reinforcement. She's the loudest person out of all the office. She's loud. You can hear her in the parking lot. She's overly talkative. She will talk your ear off. She is very animated, like very annoying, very socially awkward. She says rude things, but makes it as a joke, and everybody laughs because she's in charge of HR. And that lady had a lot of emotional needs that she was looking for me to meet those needs for her. So every time she would come into the workplace, she wanted to sit in my office. And she has her own office, but she wants to sit in my office and bring her laptop in my office and talk my ear off. So after a while, I called my boss. I told her I cannot work in these kind of circumstances. Like, I need to be able to focus on my work. I cannot focus on my work if she's in here. And then my boss is like, oh, well, you know, she just really likes you. And that was my fault, because when I first encountered her, I was very, very nice to her, which, again, you shouldn't be nice. You should be kind. I was too nice to her. She got super comfortable with me. And as a result of that, she wanted to enmesh and latch onto me. So it's important to, of course, be kind to people, be respectful to people and work settings, but you never want to make them get comfortable with you. Because when they get comfortable with you, they are going to come to work searching for you to be their dopamine. They're going to, so for example, with what she was saying with Nakia, what she was saying is when she changed and she became neutral and calm and just balanced and normal, they didn't like that. They're like, wait a minute, where's my reinforcement? Where's my joke? Where's my compliment? Where's my smile? Where's my warmth? Where's the joy? People are creatures of habit. You are going to train people how to treat you and how to respond to you based on what you present. So for me in the workplace, I am not here to be anybody's emotional energizer bunny. Meaning I do the gray rock method a lot. The gray rock method in psychological terms is basically not really reinforcing anything. Meaning you're not overly happy, but you're not overly sad. You're just gray, like you're just default. You're just in the middle, kind of robotic in a way. That is best for these workplace settings because a lot of people don't even come into work to work. They just come into work to siphon people, drain people's energy, get attention that they're not getting at home, get attention from women that they're not getting at home, get attention from men. That's why a lot of affairs start in the workplace. You'll notice a lot of cheating and stuff because people are going to these environments to get some type of reinforcement, and not many people are going to these environments to work. That's the problem. So when you understand that, especially another thing that I would like to add is, especially as a Black woman, people are always looking to Black women to energize spaces. That's why when a Black woman is not smiley or bubbly, people think she's mean, while a non-Black woman cannot be smiley and not be bubbly, and it's fine. But if you're a Black woman, you are there to uplift the spirits and be the shenane of the environment. And if you're not the shenane of the environment, you're not loud and screaming and overly talkative and laughing and the funny Black girl or the funny ghetto Black girl or whatever type of, stereotype they're trying to place on you, they will villainize you. So for me personally, what I do is I kind of come in already neutral. Like, I'm going to work, I'm going to do my job, I'm going to turn in my stuff on time, but I'm not going to be your emotional support bunny. I'm not going to be your reinforcer. I'm not going to take on that role. So I don't come in all smiley and all that stuff, because I know that I'm going to have to uphold that presentation. And the minute I'm not that, people are going to sense the difference, and then they're going to think something is wrong. If you watch her full video, people started asking her if something was wrong, and they started escalating it. And they started prying and prying and prying, because the version of yourself, because so many people are narcissistic and emotionally codependent, you were giving them that reinforcement. You were giving them that smile, that warmth. You were giving them that energy. They were sucking in all that positive, joyful, bright, warm energy from you. And the fact that you're not providing it, now the demons in them are getting upset. Now they want to get you fired. Now they want to do further investigation. You have to be careful that you are not allowing people to siphon you, that you are not allowing people to harvest you in any way. And you do that by being careful with the patterns that you give them, by being careful with what you give people constantly, because if they become used to that, that's why if somebody's a giver, I always tell giver, have your limits, because beggars don't have any. If somebody's always used to borrowing money from you that they never pay back, and you decide to not lend them any money, what's going to happen? They're going to retaliate on you, because they're used to you being their personal bank account. So we'll also talk about this in the masterclass, how to compose yourself in a way where you're not overly nice, warm, and bubbly, because that's how people with big egos get their reinforcement. But you're also not rude, nasty, and too stern. You're right in the middle, where you're balanced, you're neutral, you're professional. You do little jokes here and there, but you're really there to get the job done. If not, you're going to be mentally and emotionally exhausted. I worked in HR for several years, so in this class, I am going to teach you guys tips, tricks, and valuable information so you can be a corporate Spartan. It is not easy working in corporate America, but if you have the right office politics and you know your rights legally, that will definitely help you have a more enjoyable experience. So this class, I will be teaching you from an HR standpoint, what to do, what not to do, and how to jump paths so that you can get the promotions that you always wanted, what to look out for and what not to look out for in office politics. Also, next class on power. Power is very, very important. This class is not about feminine power. It's about power in life and having staying power. To get through life, when you're dealing with humans, men and women, you need to learn how to make sure that you have staying power, and you need to learn how to make sure that all of the moves that you make sense, so you can always be 25 steps ahead of everyone else, because life is chess, not checkers.